Dude.
Who cares? All right,
Me.
let's see what we got. All right, we're gonna go.
Oh, you got the wrong title.
Boom, bada bing. What marathon training has taught us?
Or how you
Uh,
only take 1,900 steps yesterday?
I mean, can't step very far in a car.
But what about after the car? You just lay on the couch all day? Stupid
Definitely not.
bum.
All right, welcome to the Put Work In podcast. We are
Featuring Peyton Cook.
2 days post marathon. How are you feeling?
Ready to go. Ready to roll. I'm
Go
recovered.
where? Like, what?
Quad's a little sore. But other than that, I'm good now.
Yeah, that's until you try to use them. I try. I went to the gym this morning. I feel like just the same way. Like my quads and my hamstrings are just sore. I can't really bend over, but I've got on the leg extension machine, which is it uses quads, and I tried to do it, and like it moved like 2 inches.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing anything that actually involves using my legs.
I was just having fun. It moved 2 inches, then I took some weight off, and it still only moved 2 inches. And I was showing Jonathan, I was like, "Yep, that's it. That's all I got." So I just did like a little upper body pump, some stretching and mobility, and like a 12-minute walk, just because time. I was gonna do 10, and like I looked up and it was like 11:30, so I was like, "Well, I'll do 12 because can't do like 11:37. That's just weird." And then I did like a 12-minute bike just to round it out.
It's like
Uh,
I'm a little sore still everywhere, but like really the only thing actually like sore is my quads, which
yeah.
weren't sore yesterday or Sunday. But I woke up today, I'm like, ow.
So like the day we're kind of like we'll just go into like how we felt post marathon. So immediately that day, my knees did not want to bend. Like my whole
Shouldn't we
body.
just start like at the beginning of the marathon?
Now we'll just start here since we're here.
This is weird. Backwards. Let's go.
We're gonna do it backwards. So how we felt after. So because I felt different during too, but we're already talking about after, so we'll just do after. But yeah, like my knees did not want to bend. Every time I moved my knees that first day, like they hurt, they cried, like just like my actual knees, not like the back or the side, like the kneecaps, like the bones of my knee were hurting, which we'll get into it more, but it was like all heels, which you could tell the way we talk about how it affected us, you could tell like it was all heels because usually like when it's a lot of downhills, well this is what I heard recently that downhills just blow up your quads for some reason, which they did. Uh, Definitely, because my quads and my hamstrings are just lit up. Uh, they were like that yesterday, which I felt a lot better yesterday, like joint wise, no like aches and stuff. My back and like my core is all sore, which I didn't notice until I was like using it yesterday, and I was like, "Dang, my core is sore." Well, and like my quads and hamstrings, like there's like soreness and then there's like fatigue, which I have both because usually I can like touch like the I could bend over pretty good, and just like doing like a straight hamstring bend over, touch your toes type deal. I can't get anywhere near that today. Like it's completely locked up. Like it's not as much sore today as it was yesterday, but there's a lot of I could definitely tell like the muscles just don't want to work. Like it's just like mush. Like they're not working.
Did you tell them to try to work? You
I
gotta
didn't
warm
try
them
that.
up. You gotta warm them up.
I can get into a squat, just not real easy getting out of it.
Yeah. I haven't worked out today, so I don't know what I'm capable of doing yet. But I'll be doing that in a few hours. I think post marathon, like at least immediately, the only thing that was like hurting was just the back of my legs, like lower hamstring, just right behind my knee,
Yeah,
same place that it usually always hurts after some strenuous run. And it was one of those pains that like it didn't matter what you did, it just wasn't gonna stop hurting. So yeah, I just had to
yeah,
embrace the suck for a little while it hurt.
yeah.
And
After my first marathon, I had that behind the knee pain, but I didn't have that this time. It's kind of weird. I feel I feel strangely, oddly recovered. Like I almost went for a run this morning. Not
yeah, like
almost, but like it was a possibility. Like if Jonathan would have pressured me into running, I would have ran.
I've gotten up and walked around a little bit today, just doing things around the house. But I've definitely like my legs don't seem to be in so much pain or so sore that I'm just incapable of running.
Yeah.
But I do want to take a break from running because I mean I did
Yeah.
just run 26 miles in one sitting like
I
two
mean,
days
yet
ago.
yeah, yesterday, one standing, one running. Yesterday I was pretending I was gonna run and it was like automatically bad idea, like it hurt. Like I couldn't have ran. Today I did it and I could have ran. I do have like a little soreness and ache like around my ankle, but like that's usually something I get anytime I like just go all out on a run. But Roger commented, he said, "Let's do this." I'm assuming he's still watching. He said, "Congrats on y'all's accomplishment." For anybody that's new, we just did the Seven Bridges Marathon in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Peyton's first marathon, my second one, my first one with legit training, and it didn't even. We'll get into that. We could actually go back and just do a short recap of our last like month of training, not like a recap, but just like how we were feeling going into it.
We
But
could do a full recap and it would still be like 2 minutes long.
yeah,
That's how our
so
training looked the past month.
yeah, so last month of training, I'll go into it like going into the race. I'll just say how I felt going into the race, based on this. Like, um, I'm trying to think. Like, I had like a groin injury like 5 weeks ago, and I took like 3 or 4 days off. It was fine. I say injury, it wasn't really injury. It's just like uh, a little pain. Like a little, you sprain your thumb, doing like I don't know, something like that. Nothing like worth going to the doctor about. Like take a couple days off. It's okay. Um, uh, Fast forward like another week. I'm running. I feel good, and then all of a sudden, like I'm having pain in my leg, like low cat. I can't remember what it was. It was like calf, ankle pain, and I realized at the same time, that's 400. I just put 400 miles on my shoes. Okay, maybe I just need new shoes because these shoes are beating me up. Which I have the shoes here. These are the shoes. They look wore out, like just standard. They're training shoes. And I put 400 miles on them, which is probably above the recommended. Like people recommend like 300 miles. So I didn't think about it till I hit 400, and I was injured. So I took a couple days off, and me and Peyton ran 20 miles. So I ran 20 miles in those shoes, hurting like the whole time. Uh, and we'll go ahead and say it. I did cuss Peyton out on this run. We won't go into details, but I was just like done with it. We ended up finishing together. Well, somewhat. He didn't have to finish the run alone. He may have chosen to run away from me, but that's another story. Anyways, so all right, get done with that. I'm like, all right, I took probably like a week off. And then in the meantime, I ordered new shoes, which I showed those in the last podcast. And uh, half marathon comes up. We're supposed to do it. I haven't ran in like a week and a half at this point. But I have the new shoes. First run, half marathon. Terrible idea. Not broken in at all. Like I've only tried them on like once. And my calf's feeling fine. I'm recovered on that. But get done with this run, blistered up, feet hurt for like a week just because I tied them wrong or something. I don't know. Anyways, had to take more time off. And then I ran a 5K after running. I ran like 2-mile treadmill runs that week just to like get time on my feet, basically. It's very slow. PR'd my 5K, 24:06, local race here. And then I noticed after that, I had some pain in my hip again. So I'm like, here we go. It's race week and I'm hurting. Like, bro, I was very mentally like just like I was like, bro, why? Why? Literally I had like a month of like not training, just like running randomly. And coming to race day, like within a couple days of race day, and I'm hurting. Like I was actively hurting for like 3 days. And then me and Peyton went on a short 2-mile run, which it wasn't hurting until the run, but I felt it. I was like, okay, this is manageable pain. I didn't think because I went on we had an 8-mile long run that week we were going to do separately. I went out on it. I was going to try to PR, got 2 miles in and I just quit because it was hurting that bad. So my 2-mile long run had me nervous. So a couple days later, we went on a 2-mile short run and it was bearable. So here I am like, okay, this is like the day of us leaving. So I wasn't even sure like if it was going to hurt that bad during that 2-miler, I wasn't even sure like what was going to happen if I was even going to go, which I was going to go to support Peyton. Like I didn't know if I was going to go the whole weekend or not, but we did. Shakeout run Saturday. I felt great. Didn't really. I don't know if I felt it or not. But we were going. What was our pace, bro? It felt like we were going
It
too
was
fast. Like I was like,
something.
shakeout run is supposed to
17.
be, supposed to be easy pace, and we're going at like marathon pace. And I didn't even know what my marathon pace was. Like the last month, the training was out the window. I wanted a 4:30 a month ago, but then today, race day, I was like, I just didn't know what I wanted. Really, I just wanted to do it and see what happened. Didn't really, all my goals went out the window. I didn't have any strategy going into the race, just to run. Like I didn't even know if I was going to even be able to like how it was going to go because I've had trouble with my shoes. I've had multiple injuries in the past month. I didn't know what to expect at all. Um, I knew Peyton, his goals should have been a lot more ambitious than mine. I knew he was going to be faster, so it was going to be I was going to be running it alone. It wasn't going to be like my first marathon where me and Trevor were, supposed to stick together the whole time. Supposed to. It didn't go out that way, but and I don't know how I felt. I was more worried in the beginning of the week and stressed out, but towards close to the race, I was just kind of like, okay, let's just do this. Let's at least have fun. Which, yeah, I had fun. Even though it sucked, but
Like it's not exactly the most fun you can have
yeah,
during a run, but
I ended up putting myself in a place where it wasn't fun at the second half, but it's fun now that it's over and I'm recovering. But I think that's kind of it's hard to define my mood going in. I was excited, I was nervous. Race day came along, and I'm sitting here. I drank my electrolytes. I've got cotton mouth. Didn't have any water. I'm like over here nauseous, have a headache, and like wanting to throw up. That's just like the car ride, the Uber ride over there, and we forget our bibs. We have to go back. I'm like,
because our
bro,
Uber
what?
showed up 20 minutes early, so I'm over here. I just get out the shower, and he's like, "Yo, Uber's here." I'm like, "What?" So
He
I'm
got there
rushing.
20 minutes early, and we got there 10 minutes late. So that's how the morning was going. So I'm just like, okay, here we go. I didn't, I definitely didn't feel fully prepared. as much as I did like a month ago. I felt more ready then. But now that it's over, I'm proud of my effort and I'm proud of the training we put in. And how did you feel like going into like the race day weekend, race day? Like what was your did you feel like you put the work in?
Well, I got to looking at my, training over the past 16 weeks. So I'm going to put some numbers out there. I've had a I've been using Garmin watch since June of 2021. Well, I started my marathon prep the last week of June this year. So the first 2 years of having a Garmin watch, I think I ran, it was a total of like 352.7 miles or something like that. Well, since the last week of June, so in the past 4 months, I've ran now like 400 and almost 30 miles. So I've doubled my mileage in like a sixth of the time that I've had a watch.
That's legit. I'm finna find mine. Just keep talking.
So yeah, I think in like during my 16 weeks of training, so I'm not counting, like I had a little period before my marathon prep where I was prepping for marathon prep, but I wasn't running enough. Like I had one good month in January, but other than that, I had like 20s each month, like mileage and stuff. So I spent like the first weeks of June just running and getting ready to start my marathon prep. So when I started it in June, I went from, I think I hit like 40 something miles in June. So that was including 1 week of marathon prep. I had like 75 miles in July, 123 something in August, and then 151 in September. So I went from the most I've ever had in a month, which was like, I think it was 50 something. Yeah, I think it was just over 50 back in January, which was the only month I've ever gotten over 50 miles, to 150 miles here in September. It totaled out to be 400 and 400 point something training miles prepping for the marathon. And then add the marathon on top of it, that makes it almost 430 miles worth of running in just a 4 month period. And so going into race day, I felt pretty good. Uh, like I definitely knew I could have done better. As in, like the past 2 weeks of training. So I hit the week we did our uh 20 miler, which Dylan did a 20-week prep. So, but I did a 16-week prep, but our 20 miler ended up lining up on week 13 and week, was that 18? No, 17. No, 18. I don't know, 17. So it lined up on the same week. So we did a 20 miler, but that week, because of Dylan's Ubering and stuff and his schedule changes at the end of the year, our long runs would, 1 week would hit no long runs, 1 week would hit two. So my 13th week, I hit 53 miles that week. And then week 14, 15, and 14 and 15, I had like 20 something. And then I had 8 miles going into marathon week. Well, I had 8 miles last week going into the marathon. So my mileage definitely dropped more than I wanted it to. So I definitely think that as far as that goes, that probably could have had some kind of uh, disadvantage to my running. Not disadvantage. What's the word I'm thinking? Some kind of just minor effect to my outcome. But I think if I would have done more than 16 weeks of prep, I definitely could have hit like sub 4.
Yeah, you look at
So
people that like
I
do like they're runners. They're like they don't do like 14, yeah, 6. They'll have they're always running is what I'm trying to
yeah.
say.
So I don't know if you said what your time was, but I'm
Uh,
gonna go by my
I
chip
haven't.
time through their actual race results, because my watch had to run extra.
I just
Just to,
my Strava. I just found like I have PRs I didn't even know I have on Strava. Like I just discovered it like sitting here.
Yeah, the my chip time through the actual race was 4:17:37. I actually was a whole minute slower as far as like my watch goes because I had to run a little bit extra,
What was
and
your
then it
total
didn't count on
mileage?
Strava.
Did you count your marathon in the total mileage?
I added it. I have 400 as my training miles, and I added the marathon on top of it. I think I have it in my notes exactly how many I had.
I'll just subtract 26. I had 350 miles from June to now.
Yeah, I had 403.1, not including marathon.
So it seems proportional. The
And then
times.
add the marathon to it, that would make it 429.3 miles worth of running in just the past 14 or 16 weeks. But yes, my chip time through the actual race was 4:17:37, which is 12 minutes and 23 seconds faster than what my goal was headed into this weekend. So whether I finish like my backup goals and whatnot, or like my ultimate goals throughout the weekend, a win's a win. I beat my goal going into this weekend by 12 minutes, over 12 minutes. So there's really not much I, can't be happy about. Now, could I have
Right.
done better? Yes, but hindsight's 2020. Uh, I could have tweaked my training. I could have extended my training.
Could
I
have
could
paced
have.
yourself from like
I paced myself, slower than what I could have gone from
yeah.
the beginning. 5.5 miles. I
If we
ran
would have
with the
had like
430
legit
crew.
strategies and paces going in, you know,
You
it might
see,
have gone better.
first marathon. What I'm taking from this, since I'm, I guess, officially a runner now. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, you're there.
First marathon's a learning curve. You learn what you need to work on and what you need to do going into other races.
You'll
You know,
never like you're not gonna go into your first marathon and
ever
execute
again.
it perfect
Uh,
or ever again. That too. Like you could have like a goal in mind. I feel like you could hit it and then realize, oh, I could have actually done better. So you're never gonna get your best marathon on the first one. It's gonna take just with anything. I mean, you're gonna take multiple attempts because you learn a lot more doing it than just theoretic, theorizing and just thinking about it. You're doing it's where you're gonna learn, but you can't just go out and do a marathon every other day. I mean, you could, but you're not gonna get your best marathon time. But I look on Strava, man. It says I got a 4:42:24 as my marathon time. So I guess we can kind of go into it. I feel like I gained a lot from this marathon, just in confidence. Because when you're in the middle of the training, you're kind of focused on most of your runs are easier runs, and you're wanting to go easier. So you don't want to go too hard, but I I've told myself this a couple times going in this marathon just to, you know, so what, if you go too hard, just if you blow up, you blow up. Because you know, personally, me, it's been a long time. Like the first couple of races I did, or 5Ks for time. Yeah, I blew up. First couple miles, yeah, I paced wrong, but ever since then, ever since I've learned, I've always been really conservative pacing wise. And I wanted to go in there and just push myself and see, okay, I know I can hold this pace for a mile. Let's just see. Let's just go. I'm not going to worry about, all right, I need to hold back for the first 18 miles to see it just so I can finish or whatever. So I really went into this like just going by feel. Like I didn't have any strategy, I didn't have any expectations. You know, Once I got into it and saw what I could do, yeah, then I started placing goals and expectations. So, first marathon I did it. The longest segment of running was like 4 miles, and even the first one, I mean, I was feeling good last year, but like my blood sugar like dropped in the middle of it, so I was like freaking out. I was like, man, we're in the first 3 miles and I'm already dying. But this year, I'm feeling good, and I'm kind of like Abby texted me. I don't remember when it was. It was like in the first 10 miles. She was like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "It's going good." And then I was like, "Really good." I was like, "Suspiciously good." Like I'm nervous how good I was expecting, like, okay, this is like, because I was PRing benchmark after benchmark after benchmark, and I knew it was coming. Where it was like, all right, bro, eventually you're gonna have to slow down, right? If even if it didn't come, I'm still on pace for a really good time. Like if 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 I was able to hold that pace, or if like I hit a wall, and I was looking like they say not to bank time or to do like a positive split, but like I didn't even know if I was going to be able to run after, I hit, a certain amount of mileage. Because last time I ran a long distance in the shoes I had on, I was like limping, just because it was my first time wearing them and they weren't broke in, and I was wearing them goofy, too tight or what. I don't even know. Like something was wrong. I just call that a fluke. They're great shoes after this race. Like I love them, but you know, I was just taking what I could get, because like if I was gonna blow up, at least I PR my 8 miler, I PR my 10 miler, and then I PR my half marathon by like 6 minutes. So the second half marathon, not a PR, but I PR my marathon by I think 85 minutes, 84 minutes, which is most of that's because my first marathon I completely, like, my legs completely blew up. Like when people say blow up, everybody means something different. But like I couldn't run. I had to walk. So that last time. But this time I ran. Like I think I was looking at it and I only walked like 3 minutes total. And like that's a PR for any of my training, like long runs. Like I'm sitting here, all right, for 2 minute break, 3 minute break, you know. But that's the difference between training, you know, your training runs and like a race day effort, because you can't completely base your race day effort off of your training. Like I was telling Peyton, we ran 20 miles in 3 hours and 3 hours 59 minutes, something like that. And you know, and I was telling him, look, bro, you can do a sub 4:30. Like I think, I was trying to get him to shoot for 4, but I think it was, he still did crazy good, for his first marathon, I think. Uh, but I'm just trying to push him. But I thought, like, and he was like, man, you're crazy, because with the run, the 20 miles that took us 4 hours, and then do a 10K, which that if he had PR'd his 10, hit his PR 10K after 20 miles, which is impossible, he would still be at like, what, 450. So, but there's race day, the race day energy, the the peak, your taper, whatever you want to call it. Your legs are a lot fresher. The race day energy is there. The weather. We trained in the heat, and it was like 50 degrees.
And I think my concern with, because like I knew I could run 20 miles faster in the marathon than I do training. Because I mean, it was the 20 miler we did in training was like what, a 12:15 pace or something. It was slower than I wanted it to be, right? It was slower than I could have done.
Intentionally. We just wanted to get it done.
But I think it was really the more so like, because I think what helped me was the tempo runs I was doing, and because we were listening to the Nick Bear podcast on the way home last night or yesterday, and he said he looks at, threshold runs and tempo runs, kind of the same way. And I think, I kind of do too, like tempo runs are just, you're running at a much you're running at a faster pace, right, than you are like your easy runs. You're getting your heart rate up a little higher, and you're doing it for longer distances to kind of help you with your race day paces and whatnot. So I don't really know. Like I didn't do the math to see what like my easy run paces and what all my paces are supposed to be. I'd more so just looked at like I've found a pace that felt good, felt comfortable, felt easy. That I could. I was hitting my long runs. At high 30s, low 40 heart rates. At like 11:30 paces, and so that was an easy run pace for me. So whenever I got to the um, tempo runs, I started building up my tempo runs. I think around like halfway through my marathon prep, I added a second tempo run in each week. I would do a fast one, and then I would do like a short one, and then I would do a longer one that was building up to hit a half marathon PR later on. And I think I worked up to like a 10-mile tempo, and then and it was like a 950 something
Yeah,
pace,
when
I
you did
think.
that, I was like, this
And
dude's
then
fast.
and then me and Dylan had a 15 miler scheduled, and well, he ended up, long story short, he ended up not going on that run, so I had to run that night by myself. And first I was gonna run at his pace, but since I'm like, well, I'm gonna run by myself, let me just see what I can do.
You got scared of the dark and ran faster.
Yeah, and I don't remember what my pace actually was, but I ran sub 10 minute pace for no, it was 10:12, and it wasn't sub 10, but it was still like faster than I thought I would
Yeah,
run a
faster than a
15-mile
marathon.
run. So that 15-mile, it was still ran at a sub 4:30 marathon pace. So that kind of boosted my hopes up a little bit. I'm like, if I can run 15 miles at a 10:12 and feel as good as I did, then surely I could run, that pace for, a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and people discount like the effect, like the differences between a training run and like a race day if you properly taper, because like your legs are so much fresher. Like I definitely felt it too, because I we go out there and it's like it'd be like random. Like some days we'd feel great. We get out there and we're like killing it, and then some days we get out there and
like, ow.
like bro, that was like the hardest. Like it's shorter distance, but it felt harder than the longer distance.
It's like, I don't remember which week it was. I guess maybe like week 9 or 10 for me. But it was whenever we ran our 18 miler. It was Labor Day. We just we postponed our 18-mile long run, training run for to do it on Labor Day. We got Jonathan Howell to join us for 10 miles of it. Well,
Yeah,
we ran that. I took the next day off for running, and then I ran a couple more times. Ended up, with me being on night shift Friday night, I had a tempo run still, but the way our long runs were starting to schedule out would throw some of my weeks off, but had to put the work in anyway. So I had like a 9 or 10 mile tempo scheduled for this Friday, but I also had a 20-mile, no, half marathon to do the next morning. But I ended up just running a 10K that night, ended up PRing my 10K, went to work, got off of work, and then had a half marathon to
that
run.
half marathon was grindy, bro.
And we didn't even hit half.
That's right.
You
12.
know, I wasn't trying to stop Dylan. I'm just like, look, I'm gonna stop at 12 miles. You do what you want to do. And he ended up stopping at 12 miles too. It
Yeah, why
was
would I go further, bro?
so I pretty much did, in the same wake cycle twice. I ran 18 miles that week.
Yeah.
So I in just a period of, 2
Not a
days.
smart thing to do. Most people wouldn't do it.
It wasn't purposeful, but I
Yeah, on
also
your
didn't
schedule.
realize the effect that 10K was going to have on my 12
Really now.
miler 10 hours later, 12
Okay,
hours
well,
later.
probably when you started, you weren't aiming to PR.
Yeah.
I did like less than half of the speed and tempo work that you did. If you want to, like, I did like a speed session almost every week, but it wasn't. It was only like 5 miles max, and it was intervals. Shorter fartlek stuff, and so I wasn't super comfortable or sure how I was gonna feel like going fast. Anytime we were on like a long run and we tried to do like a 4:30 marathon pace mile, it was hard, like really hard. And I was really nervous about that. And then, a week before the marathon, I PR'd my 5K, which gave me confidence because like a month and a half earlier, I tried to run a 5K and it was like 3 minutes
Ow.
slower and it hurt bad. Uh, but PR, and I was like, okay, we can do something. And then, that shakeout run where we were running like basically marathon pace a little bit. I feel like it was a little bit faster when we were actually running. I was like, okay, you know. And then the day of, like, we're running, I'm like, this is probably faster than I need to go, but I'm not dying. I'm just gonna keep going. Like, I I I wanted to slow down. At the same time, I was like, let's just see what happens. Uh, and I kept doing that. Like, I literally ran 6 straight miles. Only reason I stopped is because I had to poop. So I pooped. And then, I'm going. PR my 8 miler. Boom. PR my 10 miler. I don't even know when I stopped. Like, my mindset was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep running. Like, I don't have any reason to stop. I had plenty of reasons to stop. It hurt. Like, my hips hurt like almost the whole race. But just like, I was like, this is bearable. I'm just gonna keep going, see what happens. Like, I don't know, because my last marathon, I hit a certain point and it just was like it was over. Like, I couldn't run anymore. So I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna cook while it's hot. So I don't even like. I didn't have any rhyme or reason to my wrists besides I'm hurting really bad right now. Uh, okay, there's an aid station. Basically need to fix my shoes. Uh, man, I don't know. I feel like this. I feel like sub 4 is in the books. Like, not in the books, but like it's it's within grasp. Like, just because of how we attack this. Like, for you, for sure. But like for me, like it's 42 minutes away. I'm not saying like my next marathon I'm guaranteed to get a sub 4. I'm thinking like, a couple years from now, lose a little weight, train maybe a little longer, put a little bit more mileage on there, run my easy runs a little harder. I feel like maybe, 3:59, 59. Oddly specific, but sub 4 is like it's in the grasp. But like, if I was to, like, I think I could have hit 4:30 the other day if I would have, like, if that was my goal. Like, if I had a specific paces I was supposed to, like, I followed, like, cause I tried not to even look at my watch, honestly. I mean, I stuck within the 4:30 pace group, but I was hitting like some 9-minute miles for the first couple miles, and like I knew, like because I wanted a 4:30 like in the training, and I knew what it would take. Like, I knew, like, all right, if I run 4 miles at a 10-minute pace, I have a minute I could walk, or like, use the bathroom, whatever. So I got to the 6 miles and I was like, okay, a minute and a half. It took me like 2 minutes, I think, because everybody was just like hustling in the bathroom. Like, everybody was ready to roll. So I'm back on like exact pace for 4.5 hour marathon when I come out of the bathroom. And within a couple minutes, I done caught back up to the 4:30 pace, like, pace group, which was, they were ahead. And so that just means that I was just booking those miles because I had regained that time that I spent. So I still had that time I could spend. I had time banked up. But, you know, a marathon, bro. It's a marathon. That's what people say. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So eventually, you know, uh, pay came due, and I was hitting like 11-minute miles. So that added back up, and I ended up with 4:42 something. I don't even know, somewhere between 4:42 and 4:44, because it's between Strava, the gun time, the chip time, and somehow the 4:45 pace group beat me by 10 minutes, and I was ahead of 4:45, but whatever. I actually like this marathon because I feel like it was more personal because you could see the people running with you, and like you could remember like their faces and stuff. Like it wasn't such a big crowd that people just got lost in the mix. Like you were
I've
seeing the
just
same
now
people over and over.
I've just now realized that the past like 4 months I've been reading this pace wrong on Pace Calculator. I've been thinking this entire time that it was 9 minutes 23 seconds to run a sub 4. No, it's 9 minutes 9.23 seconds. I've just disregarded that 9 for 4 months now.
You just thought it was there.
I'm over here like, dude, all I gotta do is run a 923, and I can run sub 4. No, it's 909. So I've been every time I guess what a pace would be anything lower than a sub 4, I'm just like 30 seconds off.
Yeah, and I experienced the pace thing. Like if you have a pace you're trying to hit and like a strategy, it helps a ton. But at the end of the day, a marathon's still a marathon. But like when I did the 10K earlier this year, I was like, all right, I had set out a strategy and a paces that I was going to hit, and I actually blew it out of the water. But and then race day came, and I was like, okay, well this is, I did not expect to get within like 5 minutes of my, basically, but we held it, man. If you know what you need to hold, and you like the difference between like an 8:45 and an 8:43 is almost no effort, but you do that that's like a whole what 2 seconds per times 26 is 52 seconds, so that's a whole minute. Like, I mean, that's a small change, but I'm like,
PR is a PR.
a PR is a PR. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could PR. Like but you got to do it. You got to do it the first time. And once, like, I don't know. I feel like a whole world has opened up of possibilities because I could finish a marathon, bro. I can run almost a whole marathon without stopping. You know, not yeah, I stopped a couple times, but
It's like this actually got me wanting to just go run another one just around town just to get one on Strava though.
and the fact that I'm feeling the way I'm feeling right now,
I feel, like
I was barely able to walk after the
75%.
first one. I was barely able to walk after my first marathon for like 3 days, and here I am, like thinking about going to run.
Yeah,
So
I'm anywhere from like 75 to 80% recovered. My legs still a little sore.
there's some
Quads.
non-recovery in there that you just don't notice.
Or you just underestimate my recovery.
Yeah, I mean, well, them steroids will do it.
Yeah. You forget what I'm on and my dealer, like,
But overall
he,
review.
he emails me my steroids every week.
So basically, we went through the he emails them
Yeah.
TikTok videos. So basically, I mean, you've never run a marathon before. I've ran the St. Jude in Memphis and this one. I really like this one was super hilly. Like I think I said it. Like 80% of this course is up or down a hill. You're nothing. There's a couple of like steep ones, but like I can handle that. When it's like a mile long and 3 foot incline. I don't know, but it's like it's rough on like your legs, like going up and down those hills the whole time.
Yeah, the
Um,
majority of that race was kind of like if you just put your treadmill on an incline and just run. That's pretty much what that race was. There was like,
Equal downhills because it was an out and back.
yeah, there was maybe like a couple just like steeper hills, but most of it was just a gradual incline and it would just like tear you up.
I think if you could, like we can handle hills better than most people, even though we don't train them. But once,
I think our just like leg work would help a lot with that.
yeah.
And
Could
I
you?
think just like a lot of the cotton plant running that I did help with that.
Yeah, that's a road. If you're not from here, that's a road that he
Yeah.
ran down because it's hilly. But like the downhill, like if you know how to run downhill without dying, and you can kind of control yourself. That's where on the back end, when I was super fatigued, it hurt a lot. on my feet. Like my feet were tore up from that because all that force is like boom, boom, boom. It hurt a lot, but I was able to like keep up the pace just because of that. Like even when I didn't want to run, okay, I'm downhill. Like anytime I wasn't running, I was either on a flat or an uphill. I was like, if I was going downhill, I was booking it. I think just because of that helped me average out to a decent time. But if it was like a loop and it was mostly uphills, that would have sucked. But this is it was an out and back, and it's kind of small marathon. I mean, there was 500 people that ran it,
That was still 26 miles.
but yeah, in that same distance. Uh, Beautiful course though. I definitely recommend the Seven Bridges Marathon.
I think they should make marathons illegal.
But I definitely recommend the course because it was just beautiful. Honestly, you're running over bridges on the Tennessee River in Chattanooga, downtown Chattanooga. You're downtown for a total of like 6 miles, like total. Uh, it's like 5 miles. You're in the city in the beginning, and then like 1 mile at the end. Somehow they did that. I don't know how they did that. You're going through like parks. You're going on like when you're on the sidewalk, you're in a park, but then you're on a boardwalk by the river, through swamps, around neighborhoods. I don't even know like how they had so much boardwalk. Like
But they have a lot of it.
they had like 20 miles of boardwalk, and I didn't realize we were running on boardwalk. They told us in the email like there's miles and miles of boardwalk. I thought they were just talking about the bridge, the walking bridge. That's boardwalk, but that was barely a mile of it, total. So, you know, it was beautiful. And that was basically my first half. I enjoyed the views. The second half, I was just trying to survive. So compare that to St. Jude. St. Jude, it's mostly flat. So if you want to hit a PR, you want a flat course.
St. Jude, 2024.
I'm not committing to anything this time.
And if I'm feeling crazy, 2023.
Yeah, I mean that's like a month and a half.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
It's bro. It's a different. They're different, bro. I mean, 26 miles, but there's a lot. I feel like the energy is definitely different between the marathons. St. Jude is like it's a lot of. You're talking about tens of thousands of people, and the energy is crazy, which helps you like float. But still, it's flat. So the course, I feel like the course is a little more boring and industrial, but I mean, we went the other, they kind of even out. Is what I'm trying to say. I feel like, even though I don't know, I liked them both. I'd do them both again. And I didn't take any earphones with me. I know you didn't. It's just like,
I didn't have a pocket for anything.
yeah.
My phone pocket was like this deep, so I had to hold my phone the entire run.
I remember at one point, like early, I got my phone out and the goo that you gave me fell out, and then somebody was like, "You dropped." Like 5 people were like, "You dropped your goo," and I was like, "It's gone. It's gone now. It's too late." And everybody was like laughing. They had plenty of goose. Like aid station wise, they did great. They had like when I was going through, they had a lot of stuff left. I was kind of worried they were going to run out, but because like I felt like St. Jude ran out, which I don't think there was as many aid stations at St. Jude as there were at this. Like there was one like every mile.
Bro, I kept just dreaming for an aid station to pop up. That last 10K was just pain.
Yeah, those miles were so long, bro.
Like I hit 20 miles. I think I did the math right. It was like 3 hours 11 minutes. So I hit my last 10K in an hour and 7 minutes.
The second half of a marathon is very lonely and mental. It's because it's just you there. Like everybody is where they're at, separated. Like,
And I think I'm a
You cry randomly.
Yeah, I about cried. I almost, bro. I found like I went past this one aid station, and it was just these four girls there, and I almost asked like, anybody else want to cry or just me? But I didn't. I just waited till I passed and then cried. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep my mileage up. I'm starting to change my mind because now
Yeah.
I've hit a marathon and now I want to PR my marathon.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna maintain a certain mileage. I want to definitely incorporate some like different. Like I'm not like long runs for me are gonna be not very long. I want to do some trail runs just for fun, just to get some time on my feet, for sure. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I definitely want to maintain my running. That way, I don't have to work as hard to get my running back. And then I want to add some like speed work in. I want to PR like my. I'm not worried about my 10K as much right now because they're double deckers next year. But yeah, Roger trail runs. He's gonna like. He's still not invited to the challenge.
Yeah, you're never invited again.
uh, it doesn't matter what pace you go at. If you're doing trail runs for 4 hours, you're gonna win the challenge. uh, I'm not planning on doing anything like probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours, like at most, and not regularly. Like an hour probably gonna be my normal long run. But I really want to PR my mile in like 5K.
So I think like 2 to 3 months ago, I was saying like post marathon, I'll probably take like 2 weeks off of running, and
Not
then
anymore.
as I got closer, I'm like maybe 1 week's good, and now post marathon, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 days is good. No, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna run today. Probably not gonna run tomorrow. If I run this week, it'd be like Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. So I need to get like 9 miles in to catch you on the challenge.
I don't want Jonathan to just somehow come back around and
He's gonna like somehow win
beat
the
us.
challenge just from consistency. Consistency always wins.
But he didn't run today, right? So
Right.
that's
It's
six
cold this
miles
morning.
he didn't catch.
So I'm going like you want to go like I'm gonna go ahead. We can go in. I don't know if you even decided yet. I'm just running in circles here. Uh, I'm definitely like so before the marathon. All right, we'll back up. So like I did the open, and then we did double decker, and I feel like I delayed. I was delaying. I was trying to see whether to follow one program or my own program, and eventually I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do mine, and that ended up falling 20 weeks out for the marathon. So I'm like, okay, I got 8 weeks to PR my squat, or like get as much as my squat as high as I can right now because I know this marathon is training is going to affect it. So I really took 8 weeks of having like a baseline of like less than 20 miles a week, probably like 15, and ramping my like squat. I PR my squat, hit a 425 squat. Go check my YouTube channel, videos on there. Shout out to Peyton, he was in
YouTube,
it.
Peyton Cook.
Peyton Franklin
You'll
was
see it on
not
there.
at Dill the Young. So I PR'd my squat, and then I basically like wasn't worried about it for 3 months, and so my squats kind of went down a little. But if I wouldn't have done that, it would be like my max would be probably be like 315, which today is probably 45 pounds. Uh, so I want to build that back up, and I want to keep my like because I know I can run and still PR my squat at the same time because I did it like 3 months ago. So I don't want to put my mileage up too much, and plus I want to take some time. Like I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the gym. So I mean I've never done Squattober before, so I'm pretty sure I'm probably maybe we're gonna do that just because
November.
November, what you're calling it. They're halfway through it. I think I have all of them
I
screenshotted.
gotta I gotta go back and screenshot everything from like day 8 or something. But
So I think I'm gonna do that and maybe like have like minimal running, and then I'll probably run my own program. I'm pretty sure. I think I've decided that I'm not doing the open, at least with a goal or registering. I may. I don't know. We'll see. But uh, I just want to have some fun, see what happens. I just kind of like, I want to go push myself and go hard in the gym. And when you're doing something different than everybody else, it's harder. Like, I know people are like, hustle by yourself, do it while you're alone. Yeah, that's good to a great extent. But like at the same time, Matt Fraser did that for a couple years. And then he had a training partner for his last like 3, where he absolutely dominated. It's something about the camaraderie and just like someone there pushing you. That is why it's definitely why Peyton needs to quit his job. All right. He didn't hear me. He's
I heard you.
screenshotting
I'm
Squattober right
screenshotting
now.
Squattober right now.
I'm just talking right now, man. But like, if you have somebody to compare, you could tell your effort. I feel like, at a certain extent that you could hurt yourself. Like, I mean, Jonathan is probably a prime example. When he came on the podcast, he was like, I'm doing all this CrossFit and I'm getting hurt because I'm pushing myself, trying to beat Kane every day, which, that'll help you become your best self. But at the same time, you don't want to like hurt yourself. So, all that to say, nothing. I'm not saying anything. Like, I'm just like, this is my mind, like where I'm at. So I really don't know what's next, but I think I know what's next is November. I think I'm just going to do it just to do it. And it seems like fun. Even if I don't PR my squat, I'll at least have fun. I feel like it'll be fun.
So
Because we're doing if we do the same, if you even do it, if you don't do it, it might not be as fun.
So I haven't decided whether I probably am. Now I may not take it like as seriously as I did, a couple years ago. I may try to keep the weight down but just keep doing it. I think because I haven't made my mind up of exactly where I'm headed fitness wise, but I seem to be enjoying this running path. I have a 20K 1 month from tomorrow. Today's the 17th as of recording. So I have a 20K coming up in 4.5 weeks. I'll be running with Jonathan and another guy from the gym.
Blake,
Maybe even Dylan. Who knows? But yeah, that'll be 12.4 miles. It's like 900 feet of elevation gain.
Nothing.
But just something to keep at it. And I don't know. I really enjoy trail running, and probably gonna do that, and then just try to maintain. So my initial like maintenance mileage I was gonna try to keep at was like 10 miles a week.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you're crazy.
And now I'm more like thinking like 20 miles, 15 to 20 miles a week. If I can keep like my 3 to 4, if I can keep like 3 runs a week, I could still do like my hour-long runs and knock out, 6 miles and 2 hour and just 2 1-hour runs. That'd be 12 miles for the week, and then have a long run,
Yeah.
And
Roger said he's listening to us, drinking coffee, and doing a 5K trail run all at the same time.
dang.
So how long does a squat? Let me see what the Squattober workouts. I'm trying to see how long I think it would take me to
It
do a
lasts
session.
about the entire session.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to start mixing in doing some stair climber work too, depending on how brutal November is going to be, or I'll just say Squattober. But
So I'm like, let's just take the recovery super serious. So we got to eat tacos. When it says eat tacos, it has a man. It looks good. I think this would probably take an hour and a half.
no, I really do enjoy
Depends
the
on the rest.
Squattober layout. I like doing their seesaw work that they do. That's why I started incorporating it, a while back, or I incorporated it at one point.
I would say, look, even if you took the next month off and then just ran that trail run, you're gonna maintain like 95% of your fitness, and your 12 miles for you right now is like what?
So
It's an
in
hour and 45
marathon
minutes.
prep, I pretty much called, any of my long runs are just, double digits. So like 10 miles plus is my long run. If it's 8 miles, that's a short or not a short run, but not a long run for me. And I think what I kind of like, what's the word? Anyway,
I don't know.
double digit miles or 15K. So if it was a 9.3 mile run, it would be a long run. But if it was 9.5, it wouldn't be. Yeah, math. But the that's how it was for the marathon prep. But I don't really know how that's going to change. I'm thinking, if I can go like anywhere from probably 8 plus now, I'd call a long run. It just kind of depends on how I decide to do things. I'm still not 100% sure, just because I've recovered much faster than I thought I would be from the marathon. So I'm really thinking that I could probably do something with this because
But day of
I'm
marathon, immediately after marathon, how are you feeling?
well that was terrible. I had an upstairs room, so to get downstairs to eat pizza with Dylan and his family, I had to swing myself using the two handrails to get down.
I could definitely tell, like, you were done with the marathon and you were like,
Ow.
that hurt.
And I have not decided. Well, I think I have. That's probably the second hardest thing I've done. I still think that trifecta weekend for Spartan
Yeah.
in Atlanta, Georgia was harder. Because one,
Yeah.
it
Well,
was,
it took longer.
over 5 times the elevation gain. Less total distance, but the terrain, elevation gain, the weather, everything was just worse.
But you got to think about the time on your feet, too. And you were doing more than just running.
And yeah, it was just worse.
Yeah.
And the obstacles. Now, even just the running portion, not even the obstacles, I still think the trifecta weekend was just much worse.
Yeah. I even compared, like, I was comparing that super to my marathon that I did like 3 months before. And I think the pain of the marathon lasts longer. Like, but it's more of like, it's an acute thing. I feel like it's different too because the Spartan, like, there was no aid stations. Like, you weren't gooing up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and at the end of the Spartan, I was like, I need something to eat.
And it's hard to explain, or or it's hard for some people that don't know what it is to really explain to them. Like, you have your road races or road runs, you have your trail runs, and then you have a Spartan race. It's in an entirely different league from
Trail run
what a
obstacle
trail
course.
run is. It's
That's the only trail run I've ever done. So I hope. So there's this guy that, I mean, Peyton knows him more than I do. I only follow him because he does. He does a lot of running, but like all his runs are on trails, and he just I definitely want to experiment and add some more trails in, just because there's just something about that, man. That's one of the reasons I love that marathon we just did, because it was like it wasn't a trail run on your feet, but it was like a trail run on your eyes, like if you know what I mean.
but
You know what I mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. So I did it with you.
So, but I also want to get into some hiking and stuff with Roger. Just do some different stuff. Like, I want to have fun, and I definitely want to. I have some lifetime goals I want to hit, but I'm definitely not like about to prepare for another marathon uh, for at least a hot minute.
Yeah, I think if I
But I don't want to detrain too bad. You know what I mean?
I don't want to like lose my running fitness, because I've worked hard for the past 4 months to even get where I am. I used to just it would hurt to run a 5K at the pace that I ran that marathon at Sunday. I'd blow up in 170 heart rate, average, just running,
Could you just take out
high
running?
eights, low nines. And then I ran that marathon at a 9:52 pace and had a 160 average heart rate, which even I think is, pretty low for a race day heart rate. My heart rate for like the double decker 10K was what, like 170 something, I think.
I don't even know.
But
I'm
I don't
PRing
know.
this year,
I just assumed you may have
54:26.
known. You know everything else about me,
I don't know
PR
your middle
wise.
name.
But I don't know. The marathon, it surprised me. Not just as far as like, it surprised me how well it reflected the work I put in.
Yeah.
185 ish. Uh, I'm not gonna say give or take. I'll say take a little bit maybe. Uh, but no, I think the training I've put in definitely was reflected by the marathon, results.
Yeah, and look, if you
And
could go ahead.
that was kind of like an ending and
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
know.
comparing like your weight to my weight, your training mileage to my mileage. And then the where we landed on the marathon, it actually like it's almost comparable. Like you weigh 185, I weigh 200. Yeah, I don't even know what I was weighing that day. I was weighing like 195 the week before, but we were eating a lot. So I probably, if I did it right, I probably weighed about 200. I, uh, and then your training mileage, you hit like 400 something miles. I hit 350. So it's like it's almost proportional to where we landed. You landed at like what 412, 418,
417.
417. It took me 30 minutes longer. I landed at 443. So it's almost proportional. So
And that's also weird that you say that
I don't know what
because
that
you
means, but
did it for 4 weeks longer than I did, and I had 50 more miles than you in training. Granted, you
yeah.
missed a month almost of
Yeah.
training, but
I mean, I missed like 50 miles on the last month, so I probably would have evened out, but
I don't recall exactly where it was, but it was somewhere around like a little bit past the halfway mark. I just ramped up my frequency and my training mileage, and then I
that's
just
how you do it.
it just went up.
I remember we hit that like 100 something miles, like 115. You hit like you were hitting more than me like every
He
week.
broke 100 before me in August, and it was the day of the treadmill run. We had a I don't
Oh
even
yeah,
remember how long it was supposed to run that
we
morning,
ran 2 hours. It was like
but
a lot.
it was raining really hard, and like it was like
I
storming.
think that was
Storming.
supposed to be our 18 miler.
Yeah, I don't even remember, but we ended up just running on the treadmill, and we were supposed to do a 2 hour run, but I was only like a 5K off of hitting 100 miles that month, so I just ran 2.5 hours. The longest I'd ever run on a treadmill was an hour before that, and that was like 4 years ago. I've never liked treadmill running, and the last time I ran on the treadmill, it hurt my shins and just everything running, so I just didn't do it anymore. And then I ended up running 2.5 hours that day and just felt fine. PR'd my half marathon on the treadmill,
Yeah,
but
it's simple, man. You just
it
run a
is
lot of miles, man.
simple,
A lot of easy
kind of.
miles. Just like they say, it helps a lot, and you definitely don't feel the. Uh, I don't feel the effects of it, until race day. Like from that one marathon prep, whatever we did, and just based off the recovery for sure. And I'm looking forward to doing another one day. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of time, 3 to 4 months. Bare minimum of like you're looking at hours a week. At least next time we'll be able to ramp up to higher mileage quicker.
Yeah, I'm hoping that like I can maintain well enough that I can actually like as far as marathon prep goes, that I don't actually have to do it as long. Uh, because I mean, 16 weeks isn't a long enough time for like a beginner marathon. or like a first marathon runner to do. But
Yeah,
I feel
I think
like
it's
it was.
perfect amount.
But I think like I'm hoping to not have to work as long, you know, for the next one. I'm just hoping to be able to maintain well enough and even build
Yeah,
up from my endurance and my speed and stuff to where like for the next one, I can maybe just set aside 12 weeks and just push it for 12 weeks and
definitely. If you
yeah.
definitely if you like maintain, you could do it from 12. That's basically what I did. Like I just had like a bare minimum, then I ramped up. Like I was like holding steady, and then it just jumped. So yeah, I'm
But
looking forward to doing another one. I don't. We'll see what happens. I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time. I definitely want to do the open again and get, you know, I won't like before I want to get good at all the CrossFit stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of strength I need to do first. And of course, I think the running probably helped a lot on my, just having a base built.
I'm really
And
considering just to take like a full all around hybrid. Like I've been doing
just do
hybrid training,
whatever.
for I guess forever now. Not
Yeah.
really. Like I don't always run, but I've
Hybrids when you do like CrossFit, but it's not met without doing CrossFit. So CrossFitters are hybrid, but hybrids aren't CrossFitters
yeah, like
technically. They're just people that don't do CrossFit, but they do the same
yeah,
stuff.
CrossFitters do workouts that are just a hybrid of like every single, gymnastics, strength, cardio, you know, everything just put together. And then hybrids just do,
I like doing it
strength
all.
and running. But I may take a more just like all around stance because, I'm not trying to be the best in CrossFit, but it could definitely help my cardio out.
And it's fun,
And yeah, it's, good variety to mix
especially
it
if you
up
have
every now
two
and then.
two people there, you know, at least two.
But
It
doing
sucks
it
when
by
you're by
yourself
yourself.
sucks. Yeah.
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 And being strong is always fun. So Jose, what's up? He said he's watching but can't hear.
If you
Dang
press the
man.
mute button, it'll unmute us and you can hear it.
Yeah, bro. Do we pray for Jose's hearing?
Or even cut the volume up. If it's all the way down, you won't be able to hear anything.
But I think that's all we got, man. Are you pleased with your first marathon?
Yeah.
Good.
But in a way, no. If you become pleased, you
You could
become
always do better.
complacent.
Well, if you become
Never,
complacent,
never,
that's the
never be,
bad thing.
never become satisfied.
That's a topic for another discussion. It's all in semantics. But anyways, put work in.
Run marathon.
You
Just
don't
run a
have to run a
5K. Do
marathon,
a trail run.
but
Do a trail
do
hike.
something. Do something hard. Surprise yourself. Question your decision, and do it anyway, and see where it takes you.
It's like I said in a few episodes ago. If you want to get better at something, do it. Practice
Yeah.
makes perfect unless you practice wrong. End
Okay.
quote.
Well,
Roger Howe.
Roger, take a hike. Fitness. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Hope y'all enjoyed this one. Um, yeah.
Stay tuned for the marathon
That's
video
it.
in 6
We actually
months.
shot a video pre-marathon like last week, and I was in the car and like the audio was trash, so I was just like, nah, forget it. We just won't post that one. So I
That'll be
don't
a blooper.
if we don't post consistently, don't worry about us, bro. Uh, it is what it is, man. We're in a busy time of year. Hopefully, the beginning of the year we'll be able to be more consistent, but we're getting it. Don't worry, we're working. We doing the important stuff first. You know, uh, we here, we there, we everywhere. Put work in. Podcast. Be
Dilly
aware.
Young, Peyton.cook. Only on one social, not all.
Yeah, and do the
Just
links, do
Google
the
my face
shares.
and you'll probably find me
Leave
on
us a
something.
review if
What
you're
happened to
listening
my
to this on
stats, bro?
iTunes or Spotify, wherever. Leave us a review, 5 stars only. We may accept a 4-star, but
maybe a 1 if you're cool.
yeah, we don't have any reviews, but mine, I'm pretty sure, on Apple. We had more, but then we switched some stuff around, and now we have one podcast on Apple that has like 10 episodes. Then we have one that has 35, and that's the one you need to go to and review. So go review it. And I mean, what else to say? Just go put the work in. We'll see you guys
Next time.
next time on The Price is Right.